This is Sarah Brown with Beef Today magazine with Larry Redmon, Texas AgriLife Extension Specialist. Today you're talking about overstocking rates, and what kind of problems have you seen with overstocking for beef cattle producers?
I think most people can make the argument that using the right stocking rate is probably the most critical aspect of livestock production, because it has such a huge impact on the forage base, on the animal performance production, on the profitability of the operation. And sort of a new word today is really impacts the environment, and these are becoming more and more critical issues each day.
What is the right stocking rate?
The right stocking rate depends, and it depends on a lot of things. It depends, where you are in the world, what your annual precipitation is like, what your forage base is like. Are you on rangeland, or are you on introduced forages? If they're introduced, are you fertilizing those appropriately? So there's a lot of different aspects that depend or make a difference on what kind of stocking rate would work best for you. But the drought issue is another thing that we need to always build into that, because wherever you are, you're going to be confronted with drought, not just every great once in a while, but it seems like pretty routinely. And so we need to build that drought management into that overall stocking rate decision.
Tell us about collecting records on the ranch. How should producers go about collecting those records?
There's some forage production records that people could collect, where you go out and put some grazing exclosure cages out in the pasture, and you can clip at the end of the season and determine not necessarily the total production, but the growth that you could get. And you can use what I call forage budgeting, where you can actually look at it sort of a checkbook analogy, where you have this much income and this much outgo, and hopefully there's a little surplus left. And so we'd like to look at the amount of forage that we're able to grow on the property, and reconcile that with the number of cattle that we have, but again build some stocking rate decisions for drought into that overall management plan. And of course, when we start looking at records, there's written records. A lot of people are reluctant to keep good written records, but that's one of those things we tell people that you really can't manage what you don't measure, and so we need to do a good job of collecting records. The digital camera has become a really nice way of archiving range conditions, pasture conditions. I recommend people just go and drive a T-post somewhere on their place, more than one, and each year, at the same time of the year, go and take a north, south, east, and west photo there, and you can look at those photos over time and tell, in the case of rangeland, are the desirable species starting to increase, or are they decrease? Are you having more brush move in? And even with the introduced forages, you can see what's happening as far as ground cover, brush production, that sort of thing.